So Jill, how did, I want to hear about how iPlanGroup came about, but I mean, first of all, how did you come about to eventually make this iPlan thing happen?
Thank you. That's a good question. I like to say that I was growing up and I'm a biological saver, meaning both of my parents were savers, and so they
DNA.
DNA imparted on me. And if I grew up on a farm, so we were very poor, but I didn't realize we were very poor because we had all this food and we always, we had all the necessities.
Sure.
And my first job early on was picking strawberries. Now, picking strawberries, I started out at 5 cents a quart. Now, picking strawberries, the season's about to come up.
Let me think about it. So, hang on. The quart's about this big, and that's a lot of finger work for 5 cents,
yes. Huh? And so I was very young. I was probably 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And this is right after school lets out. So school lets out. You think you can sleep in, and no, you have to get up and pick strawberries. And in Ohio here, Northeast Ohio, you pick early in the morning because the sun gets too hot.
Yeah.
And it's itchy, so you have to wear jeans. And what do we have here? We have all this dew, all this wet. So you're in the wet strawberry patch, cold in the morning, picking strawberries, and then you're steaming and heating, by 11 or 12. So yes, I started picking strawberries. I was making 5 cents a quart. By the time I retired, and I believe it was 5 years later, I was making 50 cents a quart. So I had a 10x
That's
return.
pretty nice. That's really nice.
Yes.
How did you make that happen?
So,
that's when you knew you could think and wheel and deal and put together deals?
So early on, I was learning to budget my money, to use my strawberry money to purchase things or what have you. And so that was part of my, just having the conversation about money in my family all the time.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think my father, somebody must have bought us Ohio Edison stock, and I think we had I had one. Each of us kids, there were three in our family. So I remember every 90 days getting a check for $53 or $57 as a dividend.
And you can believe that going.
20. Actually, that was probably 40 years ago. 40 years ago, $50 every 3 months to a 10-year-old was a lot.
Come on! Oh heck yeah!
Yeah.
Jeez almighty.
So I owned stock. I owned one stock early on. So it was basically the conversation around the house. And I remember this one time we grew up on a farm, as I said, and we were fueling up. We had a farm-all tractor, and I was fueling it up with my father. And I just remember I just wanted to go play in the creek. We built a plywood inner tube. We built a little boat.
That's fun.
And he's telling me how the farm bought the tractor, but we get personal use because it mows our grass. So he was trying to explain to me at an early age the value of taxes and tax deductions and benefits of having a business. The other experience I had that was impactful was the strawberry job that I had. I had an uncle. His name was Uncle Gene, and he was a business owner. And I would be picking strawberries in the wet, cold, and he would drive up in his Mercedes and bring us donuts. And so at a very early age, I was thinking, there's something to this business ownership. I think I can do this better.
I want that.
Yes. So
hey, I'm curious, you ever use your strawberry money to then hire your friends to come pick strawberries and you give them one?
That would have been the smart thing. That would have been so smart.
I'll let you guys pick, for every fifth quart, I get one. I get 1 quart, you guys get the 4.
There might have been some child labor laws. I'm not sure, but I wasn't that advanced.
Oh, that's okay though.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's advanced thinking stuff. I mean, when you're 5 years old, for crying out loud.
Yeah. So I like to tell people that please start talking to your children early. Let them know what a debit card is, and money just doesn't come from the ATM. And I remember there's this one story when my son and I went to Gettysburg. This is interesting because as early, he always wanted to be in the military. And so I thought, I'll take him to Gettysburg. And he was probably 7 or 8. And down in the gift store, there was some sort of cannon that he really wanted. Yeah. And I said, oh, honey, sorry, we can't, let's think about this. How can we afford it? Well, you can maybe get a job. We can go home and figure out how to save up for it. Or we can maybe call your dad and he'll buy it for you. And so he was very contemplative. And so that night we were up in the hotel room watching cartoons, and he's getting dressed. And I said, honey, why are you getting dressed? He's like, well, I'm going to go down to that restaurant and see if I could, wash some dishes so that I can earn money to.
No kidding.
So I went with him, and we talked to the hostess, and he said, I want to earn money and I want to, wash dishes. And she was sort of laughing, but I was letting him have his experience.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And she said something about, you have to be 16. So I sort of regret this. I never bought that little thing for him, but it was the lesson that he.
Oh,
was able
sure,
to
yeah,
learn.
man. He's still getting he's getting dividends from that lesson. Don't doubt,
and he's he's the best kid with money. I have 3 kids. So I really think letting them experience, letting them have their own money. We would vacation one time a year up at a place called Lakeside, and there's another story about that one. But so we're going up to Lakeside, and I remember my parents would give me $5 a day. And we were usually there 7 days. Now I could spend my $5 a day, and there was always food at the cottage. So I could spend my $5 a day on food, or I could save it and then have $20 to buy something. So it was really teaching me to budget in a safety net as a young child.
Sure.
Yeah. So
that's not. You had a really good education growing up.
Yes. And with that said, I had a great education, and then. My parents, probably around 14 or 15, I was 14 or 15, my parents got divorced. And so we had a great childhood. They seemed to have a great marriage. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, my father decided to exit the marriage, and my mother fell apart. She thought she was going to be a bag lady. She went into deep depression. And me as a 14-year-old was like, wait a minute, this man is putting you on the street. This man is leaving you. How can I ever trust a man? How can I ever I'm never gonna be in that spot like my mom is. So that was really great for me. That was another driver for you. In a way, because it made me overachieve, because I'm never gonna depend on someone else. I'm always gonna have my own stuff. And so it was great financially and driving me, but it also was very poor in serving me with relationships. I made some poor choices there because of fear and trauma. But I worked through that, and I'm doing a little better now. Sure, but that was the driver. Take care of,
and it's funny. Yeah. It's always those lessons. Always have to be the tough. There's no easy lesson to that.
That was a tough one on many levels. Yeah. But in some ways, it served me very well. To learn that lesson. Yes.
So you you knew all about the hard work, saving. Mm-hmm. You were getting the investing thing and the meaning of that too.
Yes, I was. Yes.
And you wanted to take care of yourself. So then, when did your company?
That's a great question. So
when did it start?
I was in the insurance industry, and I had built up a real estate portfolio where I was probably making only. I was probably making between $10,000 and $13,000 a month. So that was enough for me to not work in the insurance industry anymore. So I sort of retired, and then I was buying more homes and investing. And then someone came to me and said, "Hey, there's a self-directed IRA thing out there," which I had been using my self-directed IRA account, so I knew very much about it. And he said, the industry is really poor with customer service. I think we can do it bigger, better, faster, stronger. I just need money to start the company. And I knew he was accurate because I had experienced horrible customer service, very much delays in getting deals done. And so I knew there was a need for this in the marketplace. I really didn't know what I was doing, though. He was going to, be the brains, and I was going to write a check. So I wrote a check to get the company started. We blew through that so fast. I gave him a little bit more money after that. We blew through that. I thought, oh my goodness, I better figure out what's going on. So I took a 2-day QuickBook class, and I backdid all of our books, and I did a pro forma forecasting, and I said, we're in trouble. We're gonna be broke. No, failure's not an option. And then we ended up getting a line of credit to limp us along a little more. But eventually, I just stopped giving money, and I said, well, you can either step down, and I can try to save the company, or we can shut the doors. And thank goodness he stepped down, and I just put in a lot more and tried to save the company. Had I known what was going to be involved, I would have. You would have done it in the first place.
There's so many stories like that, though. People are like, if I would have known, I would have not taken this on.
No way. Now it served me, and we figured it out, and we're very good customer service wise now. We've got a nice company, and so part of that was a little bit of luck. I was naive, but it worked out. And so even now today, it cost me a lot of money to get the company started, but I'm grateful to that man who had the idea to get it started, because I have a really great staff. We take care of our clients, so it's a win for everyone now. But it was his idea, and then maybe my resilience that made it happen. I'm not sure.
Well, getting back to his idea, so just for context then, because as he mentioned and you said you were correct, it was like the customer service around a self-directed IRA was bad. Again, I've never even heard of the self-directed thing. Mm-hmm. So who else was out there giving that?
There were probably 20 different companies out there.
And they specialized in self?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Now I think there's maybe 80 of us. It's consolidating again now. So some of the big companies are gobbling up some of the smaller companies, which means customer service is going to really stink again. So I'm starting to see some fruits of that, where this merger didn't go well and they've lost their data or whatever. So I'm getting clients. So I love it. It's great because we get great clients.
Okay, how about this? So in what ways is service getting bad? What specific?
Specifically, you call, you're on hold for 117 minutes, or you can leave a message and they'll call you back within 24 hours. But if you're not there to get that call, you start the 24 hours again. Yeah. And so remember how I said that some of my best deals is just because I was bold.
Yeah, well, you've made that point. It's got to be quick.
So we're really fast, and that was one of the things that we say. We're built by investors.
How do you do that? Do you limit how many people you take on, or do you make sure clients you take on, or do you make sure you take on enough people to handle the clients that are coming?
We grow as our clients grow.
Okay.
And that's our commitment, and that's why we're good, and that's our customer service is what brings client to us. So, and we're getting more, as technology increases, we're getting more. I like to say we're high tech and high touch, because there's some people that still don't want to fill out a link to do a payment, or they want to come in, write a check. So
that's nice.
And a lot of our best investors, or a lot of our investors are baby boomers or things that might not have
people who touch things.
And then we have some youngers that don't even want to talk to a human; they want to just fill out everything online. So we're trying to straddle this high tech, high touch, and I'm super excited because this industry, we have a lot of old technology, and there's a lot of workarounds, and I'm about to make a huge investment in a new technology that's going to make that high tech, high touch even better.
Yeah, nice. Mm-hmm. I am curious. Am I just dense that I never heard about this, or is the self-directed IRA? I mean, or is I wasn't aware of all you could do within an IRA.
Yeah, I like to think that some of it is, so let's say let's say I'm talking to 10 people.
Yeah.
4 of them probably don't even have an IRA.
Okay.
Maybe 3 of them are currently employed where their 401k is, and so they can't pull that out to do something. And so it's someone who maybe has an orphan IRA or an orphan 401k who already has been saving for 10 years that might be a client. So not everyone's a fit for it, and that could be why it's not so.
But again, it's just in terms of hearing about it. Yeah. I mean, so Fidelity's not going to let me know anything because that's not their business.
Nope, they can't.
So how people have it? Because it's fine. There's 80 different companies out there, and it seems
a lot of times it'll follow an industry. So maybe if you're in a real estate group or something like that, they'll share within their group. Yeah. So it's really more. A lot of our clients come from word of mouth. Oh, my friend's doing private lending. He explained it to me. Now I'm ready. So a ton of our clients are word of mouth. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's so. And there's a lot of consolidation going on. But you guys going to, so your goal is kind of to remain as big as you need to be to serve.
Yes.
The bigness of your clients.
Yes,
that's really poorly put, but
we're going to grow, but we're going to remain
grow no faster than your client base does.
Then we can service the clients.
Yeah.
And we're able to do, and I have the best team I've ever had. And so we're able with technology to be able to do more with less too. So even as our client base grows, technology helps us do a little more with less. So we can still do that hand holding when we need to, but also get.
Where do you get your people from? What are they special? What do they have to know? And what kind of people they have to be? Who do you find?
That's a great question, because in the past I've taken on some folks that have been in the industry before, and some of them have lots of knowledge, but they also have bad habits or habits on, hey, we did it at this big company this way. And I'm like, wait, we're wearing all kinds of hats here, and we can pivot, and we don't have to think inside of this box. We can go outside the box. So some of those, when I've gotten from the industry before, it sometimes has been challenging. So what I like is someone willing to grow, someone who wants to work hard, someone who wants to improve themselves. I'm very big on self-improvement as well as industry improvement. So it's really the personality of the individual that I look for more so than industry experience. I can teach them the industry experience, but to have that servant leadership, to have that customer service, to have that thirst for learning, to be able to boldly go. Some of those inherent qualities are much more important than.
I'm curious, and where do they go on to? What is their career path, or what is it?
I feel like the current crew. I feel like our career path is going to be iPlan. I've had I'll call her my chief of staff. She's been with me over 10 years. So I love this story. I hired her from Zales. She was selling jewelry in the mall for $10 an hour. Now she's running the whole company.
It's kind of funny.
And I right now have a couple other of these younger folks that are showing such talent, and they want to grow. And so I'll grow them along as far as they want to go in this industry.
That's great.
Yeah.
Will there be somebody when the day comes that you'll groom to a person or will it be a group of people?
I would love nothing more than do some sort of ESOP and sell it to the individuals. Yeah. None of my children have an interest in.
No, is that right?
Yeah.
I was gonna. That's where I was going to go. Next question.
So, and even if they did have an interest, I'm not sure they would be the right fit in this moment. And my kids are younger, so who knows? Maybe they'll come along. But yeah, it's a nice family-run company.
That's nice. That's good.
And so. Yeah, so we'll see where it goes.
That sounds exciting. Yeah. So, it's kind of funny. I come from world of advertising, and back in the 80s, 90s when they were all this consolidation was going. There used to be some wonderful agents, and so the saying was always, "How big can you get before you get bad?" Yeah, that's how we always looked at stuff, and that's probably true of anything.
That's a great question. And some of these mergers and acquisitions going out there they're so good until they get too big to. And then
there's a point you can't. Just no matter what your intentions are.
And even with our industry, there's so much regulations and things that we can and can't do, and some of those things aren't that efficient. And so we have to have workarounds, or we can only go fast too, as we have regulars, we have things that we have to comply to. Yeah. So some of those make it a little challenging to speed off. Are
there many rules? And I'm thinking about like when I talk to my accountant, he's a great guy and forever. And I don't know how anybody can be an accountant because the rules change every year.
Yeah, they do.
And the IRS doesn't. They don't even know half their own rules. Okay, I get that from him talking and going. Are there a lot of rule changes that happen you guys have to keep up with within the IRA investing in?
That's a great question. And the rules haven't changed very much. The contributions limits change quite a bit.
Yeah, I
or
understand
you'll have
that.
something come through with the Secure Act or things, but it pretty much stays the same as far as investing in your assets and the return. Yes, but they change a little bit, and we're on top of that, and we'll educate you and make sure you know. The majority of the things that change are the contributions that you can make each year. It usually increases.
Usually goes up a bit, like anything else.
Yeah.
What next? What other kind of company do you start next? Then what would be like right after this? If there was this is going well. Is there anything that's kind of in this investing or whatever, but different? I guess.
I think if I did exit this, I would just continue in
you would just do your own investing.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm not sure that I would start another company or have a second mountain. I might have a couple little passion projects or some things that I would pursue, but this was a lot. This takes a lot, and I'm not sure I've got it in me to start another company.
I hear you.
I want to go play. I'm ready to play. Almost ready to play.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your fun things you're gonna do when you go play?
I love to travel. I love to. I have this great network of people that are business owners, and so I'll travel with them. And I literally just got back from St. Thomas last night with 5 other couples.
Oh, no kidding! Oh, that's nice.
It was so fun.
Wow.
So I love being around, and they're all business owners. 2 of them have exited, so we have this nice social thing, but also I can talk about work comp or leadership or growing my leadership or an exit.
And they get it, and they can help.
So
that's
I have
nice.
this great group of peers that we like to talk about that kind of stuff, but in really fun locations.
And that's very nice. What's the next fun location you're heading to?
Actually, I'm going to France with 8 other business owners.
You speak French at all?
No, not at all. Yeah. But one of the girls that's going is from there.
That's good.
Yeah, so we have our own translator. Yeah.
Many years ago, my wife and I went to Italy, and she's Italian, but she doesn't speak it, so she can do some Spanish. She's close enough. She can pick things up. And I remember one time we're staying somewhere, and she said, "I need some glasses. Go down." And she told me what to say. And I'm like going down these stairs to the guy who owns the thing. And, of course, I botched it all up, and he laughed. It was great. But language is not my thing. Boy. Yeah. Well, that covers your business pretty well. That's good. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything we missed about that they should know about you?
Well, we talked about the different types. We didn't really talk about the different types of accounts we have.
Okay, let's talk about that.
So we offer 7 different types of accounts.
Okay.
There's some business accounts. So if you have your own business, there are some business accounts that you can have. And the business accounts basically allow you to put more money into the IRA.
Okay.
So you have there's individual accounts. So the individual accounts are a traditional account or a Roth account. And so there's certain limits for each one. And then there's catch-up limits. If you're over 50, you can put a little bit more in, and that's the IRS saying, here, you didn't save when you should have, so we'll let you.
We don't want to have to take care of you too far down the road, so okay, go ahead. Okay.
So a traditional IRA is typically what we're used to. So let's say you make $100,000 and you put $5,000 in your IRA, you're going to be taxed on $95,000. So you get a tax deduction when you put it in the traditional IRA. Now, when this $5,000 grows to $50,000 and you pull it out, you're going to pay ordinary income tax at the time you pull it out. So that's a traditional IRA. Another account is called a Roth IRA, and this is also an individual account. And this is you make $100,000, you put $5,000 in your Roth, you're still going to be taxed on the $100,000. So you don't get the tax deduction going in. But when that $5,000 grows to $50,000,
take it all.
You take it all tax free, never pay taxes on it. So one is paying taxes on the harvest, one is paying taxes on the seed. So those are the two individual accounts, and then we have the Simples, the SEP, and the individual 401ks that we have. Those are commercial accounts or business accounts. Then we have two other accounts. One is I mentioned earlier, a Coverdell education account. So think of a 529 that you can
Coverdell.
Yeah.
Is that a
it's a Coverdell. It's a Senator Coverdell was the one who created the Coverdell.
How does that work?
So think of like a 529. You put money in for your kids. A CISA, Coverdell education account, is a self-directed IRA account for education. So its sole purpose is education. And so you can have one of those for your kids. There's a contribution limit, and those grow tax-free as long as you pull it out and use it for a covered education.
If the kid says, the heck with it, I'm going to be a rock and roll star, what do you get dinged then when you get that money out?
This is a great question because my oldest went to the military. So right now he's going to Cleveland State and he's on the GI Bill. So his education account might not be used. Or at least maybe later. So I can roll it to his sister. I can roll it to a niece. I can roll it to if he has children. So you can roll it to some other people, or you can take it out and pay a little bit of a tax on it.
What branch is your son in?
He was a Marine.
Marine? Oh, no kidding. Yeah. That's the real thing.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
Yeah. You know, all those kids who want to get their college paid for?
Yes, absolutely.
They can do that.
And as we mentioned,
they can do that. They can just they can charge.
And as we mentioned before, they have mineral rights monthly that are going to pay for their college from oil and gas.
Oh, that's amazing. That's really neat. That's fantastic.
And then the last account that I want to talk about is a health savings account.
Okay.
Now, we all know that in this country, especially our health expenses are going to increase as we age. So the interesting thing about this is it's like the Coverdell where it grows, but when you pull it out, it has to be for a specific purpose, and this has to be for healthcare. But that's pretty broad. You can use it for all kinds of things.
It's anything from healthcare in terms of paying for a prescription to whatever.
Prescriptions, therapy, all kinds of stuff. And if your doctor writes your prescription, you could probably use it to buy a pool if you need pool for therapy. So it's pretty broad. And what I love about the HSA, and I think it's the most underutilized account out there, is just like we talked about the traditional and the Roth, you get a tax deduction going in on the traditional. Yeah. Same with the HSA, you get a tax deduction going in, and then it grows tax-free. So it's like the best of a traditional and a Roth combined. The caveat is it's only for health expenses. Yeah. And so what some of our clients are doing is, I have health expenses this year. Let's say I have $4,000 worth of copays or whatever. Okay. Instead of redeeming those or instead of submitting those to and taking a distribution on my HSA, I'm going to hold those. I might hold them for 5 years. You
can let that whenever. I say the same thing. It's like pretty much.
So I'm growing.
Just keep your receipts, so to speak.
Keep your receipts. I'm growing my HSA tax-free. Yeah. And I also can kind of titrate on, I only have $40,000 worth of expenses, so I better, So HSAs are a really great type of account that we offer. Yeah. Very broad. And we could do a whole half hour on HSAs, actually. They're pretty
Do you want to do one on just an HSA?
Let's do it next time.
Okay. All right. That's what happens sometimes when we do these. It's like, oh, man, that would be a great, that'd be a great idea. Write that down. And that's, All right.